Movie Park Germany, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated theme parks anywhere in the world. This is a movie-themed park, hence the name, owned by the Pareques Reunidos operating company of different theme parks. This is located in northern Germany in the Bottrop region. And to me, this is a really fantastic park. This is a park that I was fortunate enough to visit for the first time a year ago, back in 2022, and I thought I'd give my review of the park here in today's video. In my opinion, this does not get spoken about anywhere near enough amongst one of the best parks here in the world. And I truly do think it is an amazing park. It's not quite on the elite bracket, don't get me wrong. I don't think it's right up there with other parks. One, very simply, quite close to it, that it does get a lot of comparison with Phantasialand. These parks are very easy to do together in a trip. That's what I did. They're only maybe a few hours away from each other when using public transport in Germany, when using the train system. But this, in my opinion, maybe gets overshadowed a bit because of its close proximity to Phantasialand, which is obviously renowned as one of the best themed parks anywhere in the world. A truly fantastic park with some great coasters such as Taron. But for me, Movie Park Germany is not a park to be overlooked. Don't get me wrong, like I say, it's not in the top elite tier of theme parks, but in my opinion, definitely a park that is overlooked, and in my opinion, with a few bits of improvement in certain areas of the parks, which I will get onto in today's video, I think could make its way in the future to the elite tier. I think it's definitely got a great foundation to build upon. So let's get into today's review. If you do enjoy the video, please do give it a like. It massively helps out the channel. Welcome to Coasternaut. Subscribe if you enjoyed today's video, and yeah, be prepared to see far more reviews for different roller coasters and theme parks in the future. So let's get into the overall entry experience first of all for Movie Park Germany. As I said, this is a movie-themed park. I guess you could sort of say it's a more budget version of some of the Hollywood, Universal and Disney-themed parks sort of thing. But it's very, very nice entryway. You walk in through a similar entry sort of area as you would do for Universal Studios Florida. It's got the different backlot sort of themed areas throughout the park. It's sort of the movie big film production buildings like you would see out in Hollywood. And I think it's a very nice entryway. To your left when you first go in, you have the water ride. And straight away there you have the massive centerpiece of the new Star Trek Mack Rides multi-launch coaster. It does look fantastic there. It's right in the centerpiece. It does look a bit confusing in the sense that you can't get to the ride from the entryway. You have to go into the park, further into the park, to actually access the ride. So that can be a bit confusing for first-time visitors, but it does make a really good entryway. You've got this nice big Universal Studios-esque sort of entry plaza. A really nice water feature there with the Movie Park Germany logo inside the water feature. It really is fantastic. When I went, there was actually, I believe, a Marilyn Monroe sort of actor there that you could take photos with, as well as some Paw Patrol actors. I don't know if that's always the same actors, if some days there's different actors there. But it's nice to you sort of get that Disney feel when you walk in, that Universal feel. It was a really nice entryway, and I think that does set you off on the right sort of way. And when you turn to the right when you first go in, you do have a sort of 1960s, 1970s sort of esque old American street here, similar to opening street you would see in somewhere like Magic Kingdom over in Orlando. So obviously on a lower budget, but it really is fantastic. It's got like the road sort of theming, these classic American buildings. These are the sort of show buildings and different merchandise shops and food stores, but really is fantastic, and it is a really nice entryway into Movie Park Germany. When you reach the end of that street, there's two options, and you can go right or left. If we go left, first of all, you have a fantastic collection of flat rides. On the right, there's an indoor dark ride, which isn't great. It could do with a bit of modernisation, I should say. But the overall theme of the ride is quite cool. I think it originally started out as a Batman ride actually before it lost the rights to that, and it sort of had to re-go some re-theming throughout its history. It's had a bit of a tumultuous history, this park. Do some research into that, it's really interesting. But the overall theming there, in terms of the actual ride system, could do with a bit of a modernisation, but the overall theming is good. There's a Hush Topspin there, which is fantastic. We don't see as many of these Hush Topspins these days, but that's a really cool ride. But firstly, before you get to the right-hand side, you have Van Helsing's Factory. This is one of the best indoor coasters in the world, in my opinion. This is a Gerstlauer bobsled coaster, so it doesn't have the most intense layout in the world. It's sort of an extreme sort of Wild Mouse sort of esque layout. You sit in these four-person small carts with this cool sort of tight twists and turns and elements and stuff, but the real highlight of this ride, and I think this is speaks for the whole park really, is the theming. Absolutely fantastic theming throughout Van Helsing's Factory, and a really fantastic indoor coaster, and not the only fantastic indoor coaster in this park, which we'll also get onto later in the video. Go to the left-hand side, this takes you into the Santa Monica Boardwalk section of the park. In my opinion, this is probably the weakest section of the park in terms of actual rides. But, you know, it is a very nice themed area. It does feel like a Santa Monica boardwalk, you know, an old classic American boardwalk style area. You have the RCCA wooden coaster there, Bandit. This is renowned as one of the worst wooden coasters anywhere in the world. It is incredibly rough. There's so much jackhammering. I don't know how this coaster has been built so bad. There must be so many issues with the track and the train. It is really, really dreadful. But to me, prime RMC candidate. I can see this being RMC'd one day, which will give Movie Park Germany its true standout coaster. And as I'll speak to you throughout this video, you know, it does have a fantastic ride collection, but it is missing that standout coaster, and I think that is just waiting one day for Bandit to be RMC'd. You also have MP Express in this area, which is a Vekoma SLC. Once again, not a fantastic ride, but once again, the overall theming of this area, very nice. You do have a cool little selection of flat rides in the area as well. Also on this left side of the park is the Star Trek area. You say Star Trek area, it's basically a plaza and the Star Trek Enterprise ride. This is currently probably the best coaster at the park. I think it's a bit of an underrated ride actually, this Macrise multi-launch coaster. It is definitely on the shorter side and definitely not on the faster side and everything, but definitely a coaster that focuses on hang time. You know, some of the inversions on there you go through really slowly and gives you some absolutely great hang time, but there are moments on there as well, such as the double down element, which gives some great airtime if you're in the back rows, and I think it is an underrated coaster as well in my opinion. I think it's a very cool coaster. Also on that side of the park, you have an Old West American section, as there are in every European theme park, an Old West American section. And one of the best drop towers anywhere in the world in my opinion. This is a classic Intamin drop tower, and wow, this thing is fantastic. It really does give you some great airtime on there. And again, the Old West section, as much as they are in every European theme park, really fantastic theming. And once again, that sort of sums up this park. You know, may not have the best ride selection anywhere in the world. You know, it doesn't have any standouts anywhere in the park really, but the theming is fantastic. So that sort of covers the left side of the park. Let's go back to the main entryway now and go towards the right hand side. And this brings you into Nickelodeon Land first of all, and you know, once again the ride selection here isn't fantastic, but you know, there's a lot to choose from here for the juniors, for the families, and I think this park does have a lot for all age ranges, and that is a really good thing, you know, having a park that you can bring anyone to and everyone can have a good time and enjoy and find things to ride. There's a Mack Rides Wild Mouse coaster here. Doesn't have the best theming, but you know, a solid little family coaster. You have Jimmy Neutron. The classic Vekoma suspended coaster, again, doesn't have great capacity, but great coaster for juniors, and there's obviously a small little junior Vekoma coaster there as well. But the highlight of the right side of this park, not just the Nickelodeon Land on that side of the park, there is another really good ride on that side of the park, great Nickelodeon theming, once you've made it through that area. You have Movie Park Studio Tour. This is one of the best indoor coasters I've ever done in the world. This is an Intamin multi-dimension coaster. I don't want to spoil too much about the actual ride itself if you've not ridden it yet, but really fantastic. And you know, with the potential hints about one of these coming to Alton Towers in 2025 with Project Horizon, that just really excites me if you know, the ride is done well to the same level that Studio Tour was done here in Movie Park Germany. Really fantastic theming. There's so many little Easter eggs in there amongst the queue through the actual ride itself. So many different nods and, like I said, Easter eggs to different film franchises. You know, there's even actually a model coaster in the queue line. You know, every time you go through this ride, you know, you go through the queue, through the different ride systems. Everywhere you look, you're seeing something new every time, and it really is fantastic. But like I say, this is sort of a half dark ride, half coaster, and it is still thrilling. You know, there's forwards and backwards launches on there. There's a turntable. There's a nice little outside section. I don't want to ruin everything else on the ride, but there are some other cool elements on these Intamin multi-dimension coasters, and this is probably the standout of the park. You know, it's not the most thrilling ride in the park. I'll give that to Star Trek, but you know, overall ride experience, once you take in all the theming, this is a really great coaster, truly elite coaster. This is one of the best indoor coasters anywhere in the world. And also on that side you have a water ride, a rapids ride. I think it's called Excalibur, and that's also really good as well. So there we go, that's talking about all the overall rides. The final thing I'm going to talk about in this review is the shows at this park. Like I say, it's a movie themed park, and the standout show, I think there is a few different sort of junior shows and stuff, but the standout of this show is the police themed show. That is absolutely fantastic. This is a stunt show, you know, that features, once again, don't want to spoil the show, because I really do think, you know, I was really pleasantly surprised by this. I knew there was a show there, and you know, I wanted to see it, but until I actually saw it, this blew my socks away, really. This is like a Disney level show. This is really fantastic. Really great stunt show. So many different special effects in there, you know, car stunts and everything. You know, lots of sort of shootouts between the cops and robbers sort of thing. And this is a really great show. One of my personal favourite shows anywhere in the world. I'm not really a show guy. I normally go for the thrills, all the different coasters and everything. But if you ever go to Movie Park Germany, make sure you watch the Cop Stunt Show. It's really, truly fantastic. But that wraps up my review of Movie Park Germany. I think, you know, the overall standout takeaway is, you know, it may not have the best rides in the world, although it does have some very underrated rides in my opinion, such as Star Trek and Movie Park Studio Tour. Really great ride collection, as well as Van Helsing's Factory. It doesn't have a standout coaster. I would love to see a standout, truly world-class elite coaster come to this park. I think it would really put it on the map as a destination park, and people would love to come and visit when it has that standout coaster. And for me, you know, the cheapest way of doing that for the park is just to RMC Bandit, you know. This is one of the most hated and worst wooden coasters anywhere in the world, and obviously that's probably cheaper to RMC that than build a brand new ground up coaster. So I think, you know, that would be a perfect solution for the park, give them a truly elite standout coaster whilst removing one of the worst coasters in the world. But let me know what you think about Movie Park Studio Tour, Movie Park Germany. Have you visited the park? If you have, what are your reviews on it? I think it's very underrated, maybe overshadowed because it's so close to Phantasialand. But if you haven't visited the park, based on some of the footage you've seen today, based on my review, will you go and visit the park? I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinion on the park down below. Once again, guys, thank you very much for watching. Subscribe to the channel for more, and please do give the video a like. It massively helps out. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.